Hey, everybody. It is Frankie Shayne. Many of you just know me as Shayne. I am with Professional Networkers tonight, and tonight we're going to go through something called the nuts and bolts of prospecting. Now, I want to thank everyone who's watching this live and those who are going to come on later on and watch it recorded. That's fine. But these are just things that in my 28 years plus being with Professional Networkers, I've been one of the key people going into other countries. I was the first one in India, first one in Africa, first one in Trinidad and Tobago. I've been to South America. I've been to Mexico City. I've been all over the US. And I've talked with a lot of people from a lot of different cultures, a lot of different races, a lot of different religious backgrounds. There are certain things that are always going to remain the same no matter what you do, no matter who you talk to. And I call it the nuts and bolts of prospecting. Now, to some of you, this is going to seem very elementary. It's going to seem very simplistic. It's going to be like, wow, we should already know this. You would be surprised how many people don't. So what I wanted to do is just kind of take you through a lot of the people I work with here in the US. I'm doing a lot of calls where we're doing they've bought lists that are cold call lists or pre-qualified lists, or they're calling people who have responded to something in the past, not necessarily someone right here, right now. So one of the biggest things that I see is people ask about cold calling. How do you approach someone with cold call? How do you approach someone that you've never spoken to before? They don't know anything about your opportunity, but you got their name from a list of people that look into home businesses. So I'm going to take you through some things tonight. It's not going to take that long. I've got about 8 different points. We're going to go through 8 or 9, and a couple of those have a couple sub points. But again, we want to keep this short and sweet so we get to the point so you can learn these things, jot them down. You can go back and watch this again, learn these things. But let's start off with the very simple thing. The very first thing, we all love those calls that we get where it just goes right into telling us how we need our car's insurance updated or how we need this or that. And we have no clue who's on the other line. For us, that automatically means it's a robocall. We hang up, okay? So one of the first things you want to do is be very cordial when you answer the phone. Be excited, be happy, show familiarity with them when you call them. Don't automatically come off timid like, hello, sir, my name is the, no, come on there and just say, hey, John, hey, it's Shayne with Professional Networkers. I was calling you about an ad you responded to, or I was calling you about, whatever. There's a lot of different ways, and I'll get into some of those as we go. But you want to introduce yourself at the beginning of the call. There's no reason to hide who you are or why you're calling. And you want to speak clearly and speak slowly. You want to make sure that they understand what you're calling about. I know early on in my experience, I have a tendency, especially when I have a lot of information about a particular opportunity or particular product or particular marketing subject, I have a tendency to try and think, okay, I've got to get all this information out on this call. They have to know everything about our company in this one call. And so I would have a tendency to speak quickly and just rattle through information. And the problem with that is if you don't give the person a chance to breathe or get a chance to say anything edgewise, then you have no clue where they're at mentally, where they're at psychologically with what you're saying to them. It's not just about making a sale. There is psychology involved in all this. So you want to introduce yourself, be very cordial. Many times what I'll do is if I have a list and I have got their name, rather than calling and saying, hello, is John there? I will, if a man answers the phone, obviously, I'll say, hey, John, it's Shayne with Professional Networkers. And many times when I start the call like that, I can get more into a conversation than if I say, is John there? Because obviously, even if John answers the phone, he doesn't know who I am. What's he going to say? 9 times out of 10 is, oh, John's not here, or oh, he's busy, or oh, I can't talk right now, and hang up. But when you come off as though you already know this person, it opens a door into the conversation. Okay. Now, the first thing I wanted to say, as far as once you've introduced yourself, once you begin talking to them, is you need to assess your prospect with what information you have before you make that contact. So as you're dialing that phone number, you want to look at what you have about this person. Did this person answer, a mailing that you did? Did this person answer a magazine ad? If it is a cold call list, which again, that's kind of what we're focusing on. If it's a cold call list, then where did that information come from? What information do you have? Do you know what time zone they're in? Do you know what state they're in? Do you know their first and last name? Do you have their mailing address? These are all things you can know and assess before you make that call, before you pick it up, okay? The reason being is that when you have a plan of attack, or maybe attack's not the best word, but when you have a plan of action so that when you get them on the line, you know exactly how to address them. For instance, there's a lot of cold call lists out there that are basic surveys. They're not specific to this opportunity or that opportunity. They're general questions about, are you interested in home-based businesses? Do you have money to invest? How much time a week can you invest in this? For those situations, what I typically do is I get the introduction will be more about why I'm calling them in regards to that survey. So what I've generally used and has been pretty successful. I mean, obviously there's always exceptions, but I would say, hi, John, this is Shayne with Professional Networkers. Your name came across my desk as someone who has been interested in home-based businesses in the past and may be looking for a home-based business right now. Do you have a few moments where I can share some information with you about our company and see if it's a good fit for you? That's a lot of times all I'll do the intro. And from that point, I'm putting the ball in their court and they can tell me, yeah, I've got a few minutes, or no, I'm no longer looking, or, well, yeah, I responded to something, but why are you calling me specifically? The answers can vary, but those are the three most common ones you're going to get. More times than not, that's when a person will say either yes or no. If they say, no, I'm not looking, I'll say, well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. I'll just remove you off my call list. And then I just leave it at that. If a person says, well, yeah, I am still looking, what do you got? Then that's when you go into the next phases that we're going to get into. So assess the prospect. You also want to see if there's any information about their experience. Some of these call lists will say, you know, have you had experience in network marketing before? Have you done this before? If you find out there is experience there before you call them, that's always good to know. You can kind of reference that. Do you know if they're more interested in the product or the marketing plan? Again, some of these lists, depending on how specific they get, you can know that kind of information, that they're more product based or product interested or more marketing plan focused. Okay. If these are points you know beforehand, then gear your information and your contact to them in that direction. Okay. But always make sure, this is key, and this goes back to the very beginning where you're introducing yourself, and I mentioned it in the intro that I use, is always make sure they have time to talk before you tie up their time. You know, early on in my experience, I would call people and I would say, hey, John, this is Shayne with Professional Networkers calling you about a business opportunity you had inquired about. Now, and I wouldn't even let him respond. And then I would go into my full presentation, and then halfway through, the line's dead. They didn't have time to talk. They didn't want to talk. I never gave them the opportunity to tell me whether they did or not. Again, some of these things seem very elementary, seems like, oh, well, that's just a no-brainer. You'd be surprised how many times you get in the middle of something when you're excited about getting an opportunity out there, you're excited about a product, you're excited about something, how you have a tendency to just rattle into something. So these are just little steps, again, to help you with this. Another thing is establish contact and find out the things you don't know about them. Find out these things by probing questions. You know, again, it's not an interrogation, but simply ask them things like, well, have you been in home-based businesses before? Is this your first time? That's a very general, a question that goes right along with what you're calling about. Then they will say, well, yeah, I've had experience, never made any money. Or they'll say, yeah, I did great in this company. Or no, I've never done it before. I've always worked a 9 to 5, always worked factory jobs, whatever. So you can ask questions like that. You can say, well, you know, how much time are you looking at spending on building this business? What are the things that you enjoy about the prospect of working from home? You know, these are little probing questions that will help you gain more information, more tools in your belt, so to speak, when prospecting these people, so you can understand how to gear this presentation for their needs. You want to find their passion. Now, this is something that goes a little bit more with the psychology of prospecting instead of the, you know, just the logistics of prospecting. because what you want to do is you want to find out, what is it about this opportunity or about a home-based business opportunity? What are they looking for? Are they looking for money? You know, is it something where it's, because some people, they don't care what you're selling. If there's an opportunity to make money and it's easy enough or affordable enough for them to get into, that's where they're going to gravitate. Other people are more interested in solid products, solid research. They want to be able to get in with a company that is very health minded and has nutrition and things like that that are very specific, that will help their health and the health of their loved ones. I've met a lot of people who do it for humanitarian reasons. They've already made money somewhere else. They've got, you know, expendable income. And so what they're planning on doing is investing in a business like this, building this business and using it clearly as something to help other people. And then other people, it's for directly more kind of the same thing, but not. It's for their family directly, you know, for their extended family, their parents, their grandparents, someone in their family who's struggling financially or struggling with health. So find out what it is, their passion, what is their why? Why do they want to do this? What is it about this opportunity or about seeking any opportunity that turns them on, that gets them fired up? And then again, you can then attack the presentation from that perspective so that you're feeding that fire for them. You're feeding that passion that they have. And by doing so, this kind of secondary to that, you tie their passion into what we're doing. If they're looking at this as humanitarian, then you can show them how this is a legitimate way to make money that they can then turn around and invest in whatever humanitarian efforts they want, whether that be an actual charity of some sort, whether that be, you know, investing in their family. If they're looking for health, you tie our products in directly back into the fact that it helps their overall health. So these are things that will help in taking your presentation to that next step. Once you've gotten your foot in the door, once they've responded and they've said, yes, I'm interested, what do you got? Then it's all about making our opportunity fit their lifestyle and fit what they're looking for. That's why what I generally say is that we want to make sure this is a good fit for you, okay? Because that takes pressure off of them. Too many times in the past, people have gotten involved in companies strictly because they're too afraid to tell the person prospecting them no. They're too afraid to reject that person, reject the opportunity, or they're sold a spin job of something, and something that is not necessarily going to be a good opportunity for them is made to look like a beautiful opportunity, and they get involved. This is why people so many times have negative feelings towards these type of opportunities, because they've gotten in, they've gotten burned. 9 times out of 10, that is because they were misinformed, or they were given a spin job and told things would be a certain way and they weren't, or they weren't given the full story. So that's why you want to be careful when you're tying your passions and tying their passions and goals into this opportunity. That's why you want to make sure and show them legitimacy of what we're doing and tie it into real things, tie it into real products. With our opportunity, that's easy. We've got one of the best pay plans in the industry. We've got one of the greatest immune system products of all time in this company. So, I mean, health, wellness, you know, it's both, and wealth, they're right there, you know, so it's easy with this company. Approach them with the understanding that you're presenting the opportunity simply to find out, here we go again, if this is a good fit for them and what they're looking for in an opportunity. You're not there to try and pressure them into this, okay? You're there to simply say, is this worth your time? Is this something you'd be willing to give a try, okay? You can give the best presentation in the world, answer every question to its fullest, to its entirety, to their full satisfaction. You can show them that this product cannot be beaten by any other product in the world. At the end of that call, they can still tell you no. That doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. But what that means is that at the end of the day, this is a decision that you're trying to help them to see if this works for them and if it fits for them. It's not your responsibility to make sure that they sign by the time you hang up. Okay, so this goes back to a principle we teach at Professional Networkers a lot, and that is you need to be focused on the effort, not the result. You have no control over that result. But what you can control is your effort. What you can control is the amount of knowledge and information and the way that you voice that presentation to meet their needs, that you can take some responsibility over, but you cannot take responsibility over them saying yes or no. At the end of the day, they can do either or. It's all on them. Okay. When you're telling them about this opportunity and the fact of whether it's a good fit for them or not, this is a good time to mention the support that we offer. Mention professional networkers, mention My Diamonds Are for Life, mention the My Diamonds Are for Life web portal, mention all of the tools and training we offer. These things are free. When they sign up, they don't have to sign up in this and then just be left to their own devices. When they sign up with this company and with this opportunity, specifically through these portals and through these avenues, you're going to find that you have more support, more training, more answers than any other company out there, any other support team out there. You know, professional networkers, we've been around for 30 plus years, 35, 30, going on 40 years. I've been with professional networkers around 28 years. So, you know, we've got a lot of tools and systems that are available to you free of charge. And the cool thing is that with professional networkers, with Diamonds Are for Life, with the separate websites, with the what do you call the that's what I'm looking for, mirror sites.
Oh, the
replicated sites. Thank you, Caitlin, over here. When you have the replicated sites, it means that anyone that you send to your site has the same access to the same tools and systems. They can see it all just like you can see it. So when you introduce someone to this, when you go through these steps and you take them to this point where you're telling them about the support and the training, you can actually show them by simply sending them to your replicated site. So these things are valuable. They're invaluable. You're not going to find this type of support, this type of training anywhere else. We've got a roadmap to your success that you can get on through the My Diamonds Are for Life portal that literally takes you step by step, much like this, from some of the most simple, easy to why would they waste the time putting it in there, steps all the way up into things that are just really advanced. The reason we did that is because not everyone starts at the same spot. Not everyone starts with any knowledge of network marketing. To those of you who have been around, who have done it, yeah, you might think, well, you know, some of these points just seem kind of moot. I mean, we've done these for years. There are a lot of people who are getting started in this who have never done network marketing before. They've never done this type of direct sales marketing, referral marketing, any of that. And so they've always worked 9 to 5. They worked, you know, at the factory or the local grocery store, or the retailer or whatever. They've never worked a situation with an income that's residual. That word is not in most people's vocabulary. They don't understand getting involved in something that creates an investment so that that investment pays over time, even when you're not working, even when you don't go in the office, when you decide to take a vacation, it's still coming in. So we take those steps and we consider that there's a lot of grassroots people out there that are just starting in this. So we've created systems that take them from grassroots, from having no knowledge whatsoever, all the way up into someone who's an achiever, mid-level and on up achiever, just by following the steps in the roadmap to your success. It was wonderfully done and very well thought out. But like I said, when I first read through it, I was like, well, some of this seems like this seems like everybody should know this stuff. But when you're talking to someone who's never done network marketing, no, they need to know those things. And that's part of the reason why we're doing these types of calls, these types of training, because we want to get people at all levels and let everyone know that you can do this. You can be successful. You can take this all the way. So we've got a couple more points here. Keep things fairly brief. Okay. Today's day and age, everyone wants stuff quick. And they want it done now, yesterday, whatever. They don't want to wait for anything. So keep things fairly brief and to the point on the initial contact, on your first contact with these people, unless, now here's the key, unless they engage you with questions. There are many times when I get on there and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to take 5-10 minutes with this person, give them kind of a brief presentation, you know, confirm their mailing address, send them out some information, then do a call back once they've received the packet. You know, Then towards the end of that call, I always ask, do you have any questions on anything we had mentioned today? Was there any questions you had about something you saw in the advertisement, or was there anything, and sometimes people will say, well, yeah, I want to know this, or I want to know that. Well, at that point, of course, then the call can go longer, because now you're getting into a conversation with them. They're actually engaging you, and that's fine. But if someone is just if they're just kind of getting started, they don't really know much about your opportunity, they don't know much about what you're doing, but they want to know, then keep it brief and let the packet or whatever information you send them, whether you send them email links or something through text, let that kind of get their gears going. Then you give them a call back in a few days, and then at that point you can then expound on any questions they may have. Oh, well, that kind of covers what I was going to say next. Offer them information. Offer to send them more information. Now, luckily today, there are so many different ways to send information. Some people still prefer something tangible. They want to, read something in hand. So we do have packets of information we can send out. Some people prefer to read it on email. Nowadays, we also have text services that we use that will tie people in, or you can text someone links so that they can go to it right on their phone. Everything's done on your phone anymore. So a lot of people prefer just to leave the paper out of it, but many of the people they still want something tangible, old school. They want to be able to read it and get their hands on it. But offer to send them information and find out which medium that they want to receive it in. Do they want to receive through the snail mail, through email, through text? Do you want links? What do you want? YouTube, whatever. And then schedule a time to get back to them after the packet's been sent and had time to receive. Now, again, that's if they want to, something through the mail. If they want something emailed, of course, that's a lot more immediate. So you can schedule a call back with them in a day or two even. If you're sending them something through the mail, I usually give people about a week to 10 days, depending on how far it's going, simply because times on the mail vary. But those are some things, you can work that out depending on what their answers are as to how they would like to receive that. So, but those are the main points I wanted to go through. I just wanted to get on here, do something quick, but kind of to the point. And those 8 points and those little sub points are just some things to help you get started. Like I said, nothing groundbreaking per se. But many times these things are forgotten, they're overlooked, and they're just assumed that people know it, or they're assumed that the person on the other end of the phone doesn't need that information, or they don't need that. No, you should go through these basics. And then, there's a lot of presentations that are style over substance. What you want to do is make sure there's substance in what you're doing. So these are things that will help you by identifying with your prospect, getting to know them. That's the first thing, introducing yourself, keeping your speech and your speed of your presentation to where they can understand it, establishing what their passions are, why they're looking, tying their passions into our opportunity, approach them with the understanding that this is just something you're putting out there for them, to put the option in front of them if this is what they want to do, if this fits what they're looking for. I always like to say, I want to see if this is a good fit for you. I find that when I approach people that way, there's less pressure on them to feel like that it has to work or doesn't have to work. It's not a good or a bad. If you say it's a good fit for someone, how many times have we tried clothes on that we felt like were a good fit at the store and bought them and got home? Maybe they weren't the right fit and you took them back. If you put it in those terms, it leaves a little bit of room for them to kind of feel out this opportunity to see if it works for them. Keep things brief. Again, offer to send them more information and schedule a callback. I mean, those are basics. Those are just little things, but I wanted to also share a little bit of psychology behind some of it, because I think it gets lost in translation, so to speak. So that's all I have for tonight.
Bada bing, bada boom.
So yeah, so short and sweet. We'll get into some more things. We'll probably do some role play at some point where we'll do some calls and different types of situations that you might get into, because there's always that 1 in a million person that's going to pop some objection or question on you that you're just going to be like, what? One of the greatest things, I'll close with this, One of the greatest things about having Diamonds Are for Life and professional networkers is you do not have to have all the answers. You do not have to know the answer to every question that someone's going to ask you. All you have to know is how to plug into us and how to plug them into us. It's so simple. I think people get flustered and they think, oh, they asked me a question I don't know the answer to. You would be surprised how much people appreciate you saying, you know, that's a great question. I don't have the answer for you, but I can get the answer for you and get back to you. People appreciate that more than you trying to just throw something together off the top of your head that really is only a half answer or half truth even. So just remember, we're here to help you be more successful. So when you get in a situation like that, it's completely fine to tell someone, hey, that's a great question. And, you know, I'm still learning in this thing too. Let me get with my upline. Let me get my support team. I'll get that answer for you and get back to you. It would be a great time to get back to you. So with that, thank you very much for watching. For those of you who watched the playback, you should have been here. But yeah, we'll do these again. Next Thursday, we'll do another one, and we'll change the subject and the information a little bit and do a different take. So, but thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great evening, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks.